Lena didn't hear anything at first, only her heartbeat, hard and wild, thudding in her ears as she ran across the field behind her stepmother's house. Her breath was sharp. Her hands were shaking. She felt the cold grass cutting against her ankles as she pushed through the tall weeds. She didn't stop. She didn't dare look back. She just ran. Her dress was light, but it caught on every weed and thorn, slowing her down. She yanked it free again and again, her fingers already stinging from scratches. She didn't care. Nothing mattered except getting away from that house, from that man, from that wedding waiting for her at sunrise. Her chest hurt, but the fear inside her hurt more. She had been warned she couldn't escape him. She didn't care. She would try anyway. The ground turned uneven. Roots lifted from the dirt like bones. She stumbled over one, caught herself with her hands, then pushed up immediately, wiping mud off her palms as she ran again. She tasted iron in her mouth, maybe blood, maybe fear. Behind her, the village bell rang once, one long, heavy sound that tore through the night. They realized she was gone. Her legs moved faster on their own. The bell rang a second time, then a third. Lena didn't need to hear her stepmother screaming her name to know what was happening. She didn't need to hear the men gathering. She didn't need to hear the horses being pulled from their stalls. She knew what the bell meant. Find her. Bring her back. Before he wakes. Lena didn't stop running. She reached the old fence at the end of the field and climbed over it, nearly slipping as the wood broke under her foot. Splinters tore into her skin, but she didn't pause. She dropped down on the other side and kept running until the ground turned into soft dirt, then into a narrow forest path. The trees rose high around her, forming a dark wall on each side. Their branches tangled above her head, blocking out almost all of the sky. It felt like stepping into a tunnel made of shadows. But she chose this path on purpose. Everyone said the forest was dangerous. Everyone warned that the deeper you went, the stranger the night became. Stories said people disappeared here. Good. Let them fear it. If the forest swallowed her, then at least she wouldn't be dragged back and forced to marry a man older than her father, a man who smiled without warmth, who whispered too softly, who smelled like something rotten under clean clothes. Thomas Gray, her future husband. The thought made her stomach twist. No, she would rather take her chances with wolves, with ghosts, with anything. She kept running, though her legs were already screaming for rest. Her breath came out in fast bursts. The cold air scraped her throat. She pushed forward anyway, branches scratching her arms and leaves slapping against her face as she darted through the trees. The deeper she went, the heavier the dark became. Her fingers brushed a tree to steady herself, but the bark felt strange, too cold, too smooth, as if something had frozen it from the inside. She pulled her hand back quickly and kept going. Somewhere behind her, far away but getting closer, she heard voices. Over there! Check the north trail. She can't have gone far. Lena swallowed hard. She ran faster. The forest twisted unexpectedly, the path fading into patches of roots and stones. Her foot caught on a rock, throwing her forward. She fell hard this time, knees slamming into dirt. A sharp pain shot through her leg. No, not now, she whispered, squeezing her teeth together as she forced herself up. She put weight on her leg. It held, barely. She limped forward, pushing herself deeper between the trees. The voices behind her grew fainter, but they didn't disappear. They were spreading out. searching. She needed to go where they wouldn't follow. Her father used to warn her about the far side of the forest. He said it belonged to a different world, one ruled by creatures who didn't fear humans, and certainly didn't welcome them. Her stepmother called it cursed. The villagers called it forbidden. Travelers called it foolish. Lena headed straight for it. If the stories were true, then maybe Thomas's men wouldn't dare go there. Maybe the forest would protect her by being the very thing everyone feared. Or maybe it would kill her. Either way, she wouldn't be dragged back in a white gown to a husband she didn't choose. A branch snapped behind her. Lena froze. Another snap. Then another. Slow. Heavy. Close. Her heart climbed into her throat. She turned her head, just enough to peer through the trees. A figure moved between the trunks. Tall. Strong. Walking slowly, as if not worried at all about being heard. One of Thomas's men. A hunter from the village. Someone who followed the sound of her running. She didn't wait to find out. Lena pushed forward again, ignoring the pain shooting through her knee. She forced air into her lungs and kept going until her vision blurred around the edges. A moment later, the path widened. The trees shifted, and ahead of her, she saw it. A deeper darkness between two dead-looking trunks. Not an opening, not quite a cave. More like a place where the forest swallowed the light. She shouldn't go inside. She knew that. Every part of her body screamed to stay away. But she heard the slow footsteps behind her again. Closer. Lena limped right into the darkness. The air inside felt colder, thicker, older. She couldn't see anything. Her fingers brushed the damp ground, searching for balance. Every breath felt heavier, as though the shadows were pressing against her chest. But she kept going. A few steps in, the forest sounds faded. Even her heartbeat felt quieter, like the air swallowed the noise. Then she tripped. Her hands hit cold stone. Stone? In the middle of a forest. She felt around blindly, fingers brushing carved edges, lines, grooves, something shaped by hands a long time ago. She pushed her weight up and realized she was leaning against some kind of old wall, maybe part of a ruined structure hidden by the darkness. She moved her hand again, following the rough stone. Her fingers touched something else. Metal, cold metal, a shape, smooth, curved, then sharp. A handle, a door handle. Lena froze, breath caught in her throat. She didn't want to open anything here. Not in this place. Not in this unnatural darkness. But the footsteps outside were close. Right outside. She didn't think. She didn't breathe. She pushed the handle down and pulled. The door swung open silently, like it had been waiting. Inside, the darkness was even deeper. It felt almost alive. She stepped in. The air shifted. The door closed behind her. Not slammed. Just closed. On its own. Lena spun around, reaching for the handle. It was gone. No, not gone. It wasn't metal anymore. It wasn't a door. It was stone. Cold, smooth stone. As if the door had never existed. Her throat tightened. She stepped back slowly, feeling the darkness brushing against her skin. The room, or chamber, or tunnel, was silent. Too silent. "What is this place?" she whispered, though her voice sounded small and swallowed by the air. She turned in a slow circle, waiting for her eyes to adjust. They didn't. The darkness stayed thick. She took a careful step forward, then another. Then a faint sound echoed through the space. Not footsteps, not breathing. A shift, a stir, something like fabric brushing stone. Lena froze in place. Her heart pounded so loudly, she thought whatever was in here could hear it. She held her breath. Silence. Then A voice. Low. Deep. Calm. So close it felt like it brushed the side of her neck. You can stop running now. Lena's legs nearly gave out beneath her. She stumbled backward, hands shaking uncontrollably. "Who's there?" she whispered, though her voice cracked halfway through. The darkness didn't answer at first. It just breathed with her. Then slowly, softly, a figure stepped out from the shadows, tall, motionless, watching her. Her chest tightened painfully. She couldn't see his face, but she could feel his eyes on her, steady, unreadable, almost quiet. "Stay back," Lena whispered, though she had nowhere to go. The figure didn't move closer, but he didn't step away either. "You came far," he said. His voice was smooth, unhurried, like someone who never needed to raise it. Farther than anyone expected. Lena backed up until her shoulders hit the cold wall. She pressed against it hard, fingers trembling. Who are you?" Silence. Then, "Someone who has been waiting." Her breath caught, her stomach dropped. Waiting. For her? No. Impossible. Her voice came out shaking. I didn't come here on purpose. I was running. I didn't know." "I know," he said gently. "I watched you enter." Her pulse raced even faster. Enter what? This place? This darkness? Lena swallowed. Are you one of Thomas's men?" she whispered. The figure stepped forward just enough for the faintest sliver of light she didn't even know existed in the room, to catch part of his face. No, not Thomas's men, not even close. His face was pale, perfectly still, like carved marble. His hair fell long around his shoulders, dark with a strange, faint shimmer. His eyes, she couldn't see the color clearly, only the glint of something sharp, something not fully human. He looked young, but old. Too old. "No," he answered softly. "I serve no man." Lena pressed harder against the stone behind her. "What do you want from me?" The figure raised his head slightly, studying her through the dim light. "You entered a place no one has entered for many years," he said. "You touched a door others could not see." She shook her head quickly. "I didn't mean to. I didn't want to. I had to hide." "You chose the only place in this forest where your hunters could not follow." His voice softened. "You chose me." Her breathing stopped for a moment. She didn't choose anyone. She didn't even know this place existed. But the way he said it, slow, sure, like he understood her fear better than she did, made her legs give a faint tremble. Lena's voice turned small. "I just wanted to escape." The figure nodded almost gently. "You did." A long breath escaped her. Relief, fear, both tangled, but he wasn't done. "You escaped your marriage," he said quietly. "You escaped the man waiting for you." Lena's heart hammered hard when he said that. He knew. He knew about Thomas. But before she could respond, his tone shifted. Lower, quieter. "But you did not escape me." Lena's stomach dropped. Her hands shook. She stepped sideways along the wall, trying to find a door that wasn't there anymore. "Don't be afraid," he said softly. "I'm not," she whispered, though she clearly was. His eyes lifted, catching more light this time. Silver. A cold, glowing silver like moonlit water. Her breath froze. No man had eyes like that. No human did. He watched her trembling hands, the way she pressed herself against the stone. "I won't harm you," he said, voice almost gentle. "You have my word." She didn't answer. He stepped a little closer. Slow, steady, controlled. "My name," he said quietly, "is Adrian." The name felt heavy, old, forgotten. "And you?" he asked softly. She held her breath for a moment. "Lena," he nodded. Lena, he repeated as though testing the sound. You ran from a cruel fate. Her throat tightened. You don't know anything about me. He tilted his head slightly. I know enough. She shook her head firmly. Stay away. He stopped walking. He didn't reach for her. He didn't raise his voice. He simply stood there, watching her with those unblinking silver eyes. You entered my domain, Adrian said, and now you are under my protection. Lena froze. Protection? From what? From Thomas? From the hunters? From the forest? Her voice trembled. Why? Why would you protect me? A faint, unreadable expression passed through his pale face. Because you ran, he said simply, and I have always watched those who run. Lena shook her head slowly. That doesn't make sense. It will, Adrian said quietly. In time. She hugged her arms around herself, trying to steady her breathing. The room, if it was even a room, felt less threatening now, but only slightly. Adrian took one final step forward. You escaped a marriage tonight, he said, but you walked into something far older. Lena swallowed hard. I want to leave, she whispered. Adrian's expression did not change. You can't. Her breath caught painfully. Why not? His voice lowered. Because you stepped through a door that does not open twice. Lena kept running, pushing through bushes and roots, even when they scratched her legs. Her lungs burned, and every breath felt tight, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Not now. Not when she was finally out. For a moment, she glanced over her shoulder. The trail behind her was empty, but she knew that meant nothing. Her family wouldn't chase her yet, not until they realized she was gone. And when they did, they would send the fastest riders. Her father didn't allow disobedience. Her uncle didn't allow questions. And her groom, the man she was supposed to marry, didn't allow no. Just thinking of him made her stomach twist. She pushed on, holding her dress up so her feet could move faster. Branches cracked under her steps. Birds scattered out of the trees. A chill slid down her back, as if the forest itself was warning her. Don't slow down. Her plan wasn't perfect. It wasn't even smart. All she had was a small bag, a few coins, and a map that she barely understood. But anything was better than the life she was running from. She moved deeper into the trees, searching for the old dirt path she saw on the map. It was supposed to lead to the river, and the river led to the next town. There she could hide, maybe work in a bakery or a tavern, maybe finally breathe without fear. The farther she got from home, the lighter her chest felt, until she heard it, a sound behind her, not loud, not close, but clear, a step. Her blood turned cold. She turned slowly, heart pounding. The forest was quiet. No wind, no animals, no voices, just the heavy silence that only happened when something dangerous was near. She took one step back, then another sound, a soft crunch, like weight settling on leaves. Someone was there. Who's there? She asked, her voice shaking. No answer. She held her breath, listening, waiting, staring into the dark between the trees. But nothing moved. Maybe she imagined it. Maybe it was an animal. Maybe a figure stepped out. Tall, still, too calm for a traveler. His clothes were dark, the fabric smooth and clean, nothing like someone who walked through the forest. Lena's heart dropped. Not a rider from her village, not a thief. This man didn't look like anyone she had ever seen. He didn't carry a torch, yet she saw him clearly. His skin looked pale against the shadows, and his eyes weren't normal. They glowed faintly, not bright, but soft, like embers inside storm clouds. Her breath caught. She stepped back again, but her shoe slipped on mud and she stumbled. She grabbed a tree to steady herself. The man didn't move. He simply watched her, calm, silent, unbroken by the dark around him. His voice came softly, almost quiet enough to miss. "You're far from home." Lena froze. Her throat tightened, her thoughts tangled. No one should know who she was or where she came from. How do you know that?" she whispered. He didn't answer her question. Instead, he took one slow step forward. Not threatening, not fast, just certain. "You shouldn't be alone in these woods," he said. "Something is following you." Her stomach twisted. She wanted to ask what he meant. She wanted to run. She wanted to scream, but all she could do was stare at him. That voice. It didn't sound human. Deep. Yes. Calm. Yes. But there was something else. Something older. Something that made her skin prickle. The man tilted his head slightly. "You don't believe me," he said. She shook her head. "I don't know who you are." He looked at her for a long moment. And then, "You will," he said quietly. She swallowed hard. A twig snapped behind her. Lena spun around, terrified that another figure stood there. But the path was empty. When she turned back, the man was gone. Vanished. The space where he stood was dark again, as if he had never been there. Lena's legs weakened. Her hands shook. She didn't know whether to run or collapse. Then a voice whispered behind her. Low, deep, close enough that the air brushed her ear. "Move." She gasped and spun around again, and there he was, behind her now. Too close, too fast, too silent. Her breath caught in her throat. "What are you?" she whispered. His eyes met hers. Calm, steady, unblinking. "Not your enemy." Then he reached toward her. She flinched and tried to back away, but his hand wasn't touching her. He was pushing her slightly to the side, and something huge, moved in the darkness where she had been standing. Heavy, breathing, watching. Lena froze in terror. The man stepped in front of her, blocking her view of the creature. "Stay behind me," he said. His tone changed, no longer quiet, no longer gentle. Now it was commanding, like someone used to being obeyed. The creature in the trees growled, a low, hungry sound that vibrated in Lena's chest. Her heart hammered so hard it hurt. "What is that?" she whispered. The man didn't look back at her. "A mistake that followed your scent." Her stomach knotted. "My scent?" "You smell like fear," he said. Before she could answer, the creature lunged, and Lena's world exploded into chaos. The creature burst out of the trees, crashing through branches as if they were nothing. Lena saw only a blur of gray skin, long limbs, and too many teeth. Its eyes shone like broken glass. She stumbled back with a gasp, her hands trembling so hard she couldn't even lift her bag to shield herself. The man stepped forward, placing himself between her and the creature. He didn't draw a weapon. He didn't raise his hands. He simply stood still, as if he didn't need anything to fight it. The creature hissed, lowering itself like a wolf ready to spring. Lena's breath hitched. Her legs began to shake. She tried to take a step back, but the man's voice cut through the panic. "Stay behind me." She froze. The creature lunged, but the man moved first. He didn't leap. He didn't sprint. He simply appeared in front of the creature, faster than Lena's eyes could follow. A blur of dark fabric. A sound like air splitting. A flash of pale hand. Then, silence. The creature collapsed at his feet, its body falling in a heavy, twisted heap. Its chest stopped rising. Its eyes went dull. Lena stared. Her breath caught in her throat. The man turned his head slightly, not looking at her fully, but enough that she knew his attention was fixed on her. "You shouldn't run so loudly," he said softly. "Things wake when they hear fear." Lena swallowed hard, her throat dry. You killed it," she whispered. "Yes." "With what?" He finally looked at her, and she still saw no weapon. "Nothing," he said simply. Her chest tightened. This wasn't a normal man, not a traveler, not a hunter. Something else, something dangerous, something she should run from. But her legs wouldn't move. He stepped toward her, slow and controlled, like someone careful with a frightened animal. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She shook her head. I don't think so." His eyes dropped to her arm. A scratch, thin, fresh, bled down her skin, but she hadn't even felt it. He brushed his fingertips near it, not touching. The creature burst out of the trees, crashing through branches as if they were nothing. Lena saw only a blur of gray skin, long limbs, and too many teeth. Its eyes shone like broken glass. She stumbled back with a gasp, her hands trembling so hard she couldn't even lift her bag to shield herself. The man stepped forward, placing himself between her and the creature. He didn't draw a weapon. He didn't raise his hands. He simply stood still, as if he didn't need anything to fight it. The creature hissed, lowering itself like a wolf ready to spring. Lena's breath hitched. Her legs began to shake. She tried to take a step back, but the man's voice cut through the panic. "Stay behind me." She froze. The creature lunged, but the man moved first. He didn't leap. He didn't sprint. He simply appeared in front of the creature, faster than Lena's eyes could follow. A blur of dark fabric, a sound like air splitting, a flash of pale hand, then silence. The creature collapsed at his feet, its body falling in a heavy, twisted heap. Its chest stopped rising. Its eyes went dull. Lena stared. Her breath caught in her throat. The man turned his head slightly, not looking at her fully, but enough that she knew his attention was fixed on her. "You shouldn't run so loudly," he said softly. "Things wake when they hear fear." Lena swallowed hard, her throat dry. You killed it," she whispered. "Yes." "With what?" He finally looked at her, and she still saw no weapon. "Nothing," he said simply. Her chest tightened. This wasn't a normal man, not a traveler, not a hunter. Something else, something dangerous, something she should run from. But her legs wouldn't move. He stepped toward her, slow and controlled, like someone careful with a frightened animal. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She shook her head. I don't think so." His eyes dropped to her arm. A scratch, thin, fresh, bled down her skin, but she hadn't even felt it. He brushed his fingertips near it, not touching. "You should clean that," he murmured. "Things in this forest follow blood." Lena pulled her arm back, unsure if she was afraid of him or grateful. "Who are you?" she whispered. He didn't answer at first. Instead, he looked into the trees, listening for something only he could hear. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. "Not someone you should meet," he said. "That's not an answer." He gave a faint, ghost-like smile. "Nothing warm, nothing soft." "No," he said, "it isn't." Lena took a shaky breath. "I'm just trying to get away," she said quietly. "I'm not looking for trouble." "You've already found it." Her stomach twisted. "What does that mean?" He nodded toward the creature on the ground. "That thing was hunting you long before you entered these woods. You were marked." "Marked?" He stepped closer. "Tell me, who did you run from?" Lena swallowed hard, My family. And the man they want me to marry. His jaw tightened, ever so slightly. And why were you chosen for him? Lena hesitated. Her hands balled into shaking fists. Because I don't matter, she whispered. Something in his expression changed. Barely, but enough that she saw the shift. He understood that feeling too well. He stepped even closer, his voice dropping. People who say that, he said, are usually the ones who matter the most. Her breath caught. No one had ever said something like that to her, not once in her life. But before she could speak, he suddenly went still, his entire body freezing like a statue carved from shadows. Lena's heart dropped. "What's wrong?" she whispered. He raised a hand. Quiet. Warning. Don't speak. The trees around them seemed to stop moving. Even the air felt heavy, as if holding its breath. He turned his head slightly, listening. Lena listened too. At first, she heard nothing. Until she did. Hoofbeats. Far, but coming fast. Too many to be travelers. Too coordinated to be villagers. Her chest tightened painfully. "It's them," she whispered. "They're looking for me." The man turned to her fully now, his eyes darker than before. "You can't outrun horses," he said. "Not in these woods." "I know. And you can't hide. They'll find your tracks." "I know." Another pause. The hoofbeats grew louder, closer. Lena looked at him with fear she couldn't hide. "Will you help me?" she whispered. For a moment, he didn't answer. His gaze moved over her face, searching, studying, deciding. "You don't know who I am," he said quietly. "I know," she replied. "But you saved me." His jaw tightened again, as if the words struck him in a place he didn't want touched. The riders were close now. Leaves trembled with the force of hooves. The man stepped forward, too close. Close enough that she felt the cold air around him. "If I help you," he said, "your life will change." Lena swallowed hard. "How?" He held her gaze. "You won't get it back." Her heart pounded. "I don't want it back," she whispered. For the first time, something warm flickered in his eyes. Something old, dangerous, but almost human. "Then stay close," he said. He touched her wrist lightly, cold fingers, gentle hold, and the forest around them seemed to shift. The shadows deepened. The air thickened. The world tilted. And Lena felt herself pulled into darkness she didn't understand. But it was better than going back. It had to be. Lena gasped as the world around her changed. It wasn't like falling. It wasn't like being dragged. It felt more like stepping through a thin layer of cold water. One second she was in the forest. The next she wasn't. The trees around them looked the same. But wrong. Darker. Quieter. Still. In a way that felt unnatural. The hoofbeats were gone. Completely gone. She turned in a circle, confused and shaking. "Where are we?" she whispered. The man let go of her wrist slowly. "A safer layer of the woods," he said. "Your hunters can't reach this side." Lena stared. A different side?" "It's still the forest," he said. "Just deeper. Older." She didn't understand. But she knew one thing. He wasn't human. Not even close. She stepped back a little, her heart thudding too hard. His eyes softened in a way she didn't expect. "You're frightened," he said quietly. "You moved us," Lena whispered, "without touching the ground. Without anything. Yes. You killed that thing with nothing in your hands. Yes. You appear and vanish. Yes. And you expect me not to be scared?" His expression changed. Not offended. Not angry. More like something tugged at a memory he didn't like. "No," he said. "I don't expect that." His voice softened even more. "Fear keeps you alive. Lena hugged her arms around herself. The air in this place felt colder, heavier, but strangely safer than the world she ran from. She took a slow breath. "What's your name?" she asked. He hesitated for the first time. "Names have weight," he said quietly. "I need something to call you." He studied her face again, like he was deciding whether she was ready, or whether the truth would scare her even more. Finally he spoke. "My name is Corin." Lena let out a shaky breath. Corin. Simple. Clear. Not strange at all. Yet when he said it, the air around them shifted like the trees recognized it. She forced herself to nod. "I'm Lena." "I know," he said. Her stomach dropped. You knew my name?" "I heard your hunters say it." She blinked. "When?" "Before they reached the woods." He paused. "I hear far." Lena's shoulders loosened just a little. Not enough to be calm, but enough to breathe. Corin turned his head again, listening to something she couldn't hear. "You're safe for now," he said. "But you can't stay in these woods." "I know. You can't go back." "I know that too." He looked at her for a long moment. "You're colder than you should be," he murmured. "Because you brought me to this deeper place?" she asked. "No." He stepped closer. "Because you're scared of me." Lena's breath caught. Because he wasn't wrong. She didn't lie. "I don't understand what you are." He didn't answer for a moment. Then slowly, carefully, he reached for her hand. She pulled back out of reflex. He didn't move again. He just looked at her, waiting. After a few seconds, her hand inched forward, trembling slightly. She didn't know why. Maybe curiosity, maybe trust, maybe desperation. When her fingers touched his, her breath stopped. His skin was cold, not dead cold, not painful, just cold like stone under moonlight. But it wasn't the cold that shocked her. It was the feeling, a quiet hum under his skin, like something ancient lived inside him. Something not asleep, not fully awake, just watching. She pulled her hand back quickly. Corin lowered his head slightly, not angry. "You asked what I am," he said quietly. She nodded. "You already know," he said. "Your fear tells you." Her heart hammered. She swallowed. "You're not human." "No." "Are you from the stories?" she whispered. "The ones people tell at night?" "Yes." Her voice dropped to almost nothing. "You're one of the night creatures." He didn't blink. "Yes." Lena's throat tightened. Her family always warned her. Never wander after dark. Never go near the old forests. Never trust a man with cold hands. She stepped back again. Corin didn't move to stop her. "You saved me," she said shakily. "Yes." "Why?" His eyes didn't leave her face. "Because you were being hunted, and not only by men." Her chest tightened. "Not only by men." "No," he said softly. "Something marked you long ago. Tonight it woke." Lena shook her head. "I don't understand." "You will," he replied. He walked past her, brushing the air with his coat, and the darkness around them thinned slightly, making the trees look less heavy. "Where are you going?" she asked. "To lead you out." She hesitated. "What happens if I don't go with you?" Corin stopped walking. "If you stay in this deeper layer of the woods," he said slowly, "it will swallow you. No human leaves it alone." Lena's fear changed. Not gone, but shifting. Less fear of him, and more fear of being alone in this place. She swallowed hard. Then she walked toward him. "I'll come," she whispered. Corin looked at her again, and something in his expression softened for the first time. "Good," he said. "Stay close." As they walked between the old trees, Lena tried to calm her breathing. Her world was falling apart. Her life was gone. Her path had vanished. But one thing kept repeating in her mind. Why would something mark her? She wasn't special. She wasn't powerful. She wasn't even wanted. Her voice came out small. Corin, why would anything follow me? He didn't answer. Not yet. But his silence told her everything. He knew the reason, and she wasn't ready for it. Not yet. Lena followed Corin through the strange, deeper forest. Every sound felt muted here. Every shadow felt thicker. Even her footsteps seemed too soft, like the ground swallowed the noise on purpose. Corin moved ahead of her, silent and steady. He didn't rush. He didn't look back often, but she could feel him watching her in small, careful ways, as if he expected her to fall apart, as if he knew she was close to shaking again. Lena hugged herself as they walked. She kept replaying everything that happened, running from home, the creature, the riders, the strange shift in the woods, and Corin himself. Her life had twisted in one night. She tried to breathe, but something heavy settled in her chest. Finally, she broke the silence. Corin, she said softly, you keep saying I was marked. Why would anyone, or anything, choose me? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he slowed his steps until she walked beside him. His voice came low. You lived near the old valley, yes? She nodded. My family has always been there. And you were born in that house. Yes. Corin's jaw tightened slightly. That place once belonged to a lord of the night. Lena stopped walking. What do you mean? Corin turned to face her fully. His expression wasn't cruel, but it was serious. Your family built their home on land that wasn't empty, he said. Something slept beneath it. Something old. A cold shiver ran through her. I never heard anything like that. You wouldn't, Corin said. Humans bury truth when they're afraid of it. Lena shook her head. But my family never believed in creatures like you. They don't even say your name. Corin gave a faint, dry sound, almost a humorless laugh. Not believing doesn't protect them. She felt her hands shake again. How did it mark me? She whispered. Corin's eyes lowered to her neck, then quickly back to her face. You had a dream as a child, he said. One you didn't understand. One you forgot. Her breath stopped. How do you know that? Because marks begin in dreams, Corin replied, and you carry that weight like someone who woke with fear she couldn't explain. Lena blinked hard. A memory flickered. Not clear, not full, just a feeling. A dark room, a shape near her bed, a cold breath on her cheek. But she didn't remember the face. She didn't even know if it had one. She swallowed. I thought it was just a nightmare. That's what marks want you to think, Corin said. Lena wrapped her arms around herself again. If something marked me, she said softly, why did it wait all these years? Corin's eyes turned sharper. Because tonight, someone else tried to claim you. She blinked. What? Your groom, Corin said quietly. The one they forced on you. He wanted you. He reached for you. That woke the old mark. Lena felt sick. It woke because someone touched me? Because someone tried to own you, Corin said. Her stomach twisted painfully. So, I'm hunted because of him? No, Corin said. You were hunted long before him. Your fear only lit the path. Lena's voice shook. I didn't choose any of this. I know. The way he said it, there was something in his tone, something heavy, like he understood too well. She looked up at him. Corin, were you marked once too? He went still, completely still. Then he looked away, the shadows across his face making him look older than before. Yes, he said finally. Lena's throat tightened. What happened to you? She whispered. He walked ahead a few steps before answering. I was taken. Her breath caught. Taken? Yes. By who? Corin didn't answer right away. His voice came quiet, strained. By the one who made me. Lena stared at his back. You weren't born like this, she whispered. No. What were you? He turned to her again, and this time his eyes looked almost human, almost sad, almost broken at the edges. A man, he said. Young. Foolish. Loved by someone he shouldn't have loved. Lena felt her chest twist. Then, you understand what it's like to be trapped. Corin's jaw clenched. Too well. The deeper forest around them softened a little, the shadows thinning as the path opened. Lena's fear eased for a moment. Not because the place felt safer, but because Corin felt less like a monster, and more like someone who had lost everything too. She walked beside him again. Corin, where are we going? She asked. To the other side, he answered, where the forest joins the normal world again. And after that? He glanced at her. That depends. On what? On whether you still want to run, she frowned. I thought running was my only choice. It was, Corin said, until I stepped in. Her heartbeat quickened. Why does that change anything? He held her stare, quiet, steady. Because now you're under my shadow. Lena didn't know what that meant. Not fully. But she felt the weight of the words. Is that bad? She whispered. He shook his head slowly. No, he said, but it isn't simple. They walked in silence for a few more steps. Then Corin spoke again. Lena. Yes? Once we leave this deeper place, something will try again. Her breath hitched. Try what? He stopped, turned toward her, looked straight into her eyes. To take you, he said. The air around them went still. Lena felt her whole world stop. And this time, Corin said softly, I won't let it. The storm outside had quieted, but the manor's halls still felt charged with a kind of electric dread, like the walls themselves remembered what happened here. Lena stayed seated beside the fire, gripping the edge of her cloak as Corin approached again. Slower this time, measuring every shift of her expression. He stopped just a few steps away, the firelight brushing against his face, showing the strange calm in his eyes. You're frightened, Corin said quietly. His voice was steady, but there was something underneath it. Regret, maybe, or warning. I'm not frightened, Lena whispered, though the tremor in her hands betrayed her. I just don't understand what you are. Corin lowered his gaze for a moment, almost as if choosing his words with great care. You weren't supposed to find me, he said. Not yet. Not like this. A draft swept through the room, making the flames bend and hiss. The shadows crawled up the walls, long and thin, like fingers reaching. Lena swallowed hard. Then tell me, she said. Tell me the truth. Corin looked up at her, really looked this time, and there was no hiding the sadness carved into his face. Lena, I am not meant to be awake. The fire cracked sharply. Something broke the seal, he continued. Something old. Something dangerous. He lifted his hand toward her, but stopped himself before touching her. And now, the thing that kept me asleep will come for the one who woke me. Lena's breath caught. You mean me. Corin didn't answer. He didn't have to. The room felt colder all at once, as if the fire itself had stepped back. Lena's fingers tightened around the edge of her cloak. What will come for me? Corin's jaw tensed, and for the first time since she found him in the forbidden chamber, he looked uncertain, almost human. There is no simple name for it, he said. It is older than these walls, older than the manor, older than me. His eyes drifted toward the tall windows, where streaks of rain slid down the glass, like thin silver threads. It waits in the dark places of this land, and it felt the seal break the moment you touched that door. Lena felt a knot tighten in her stomach. I didn't mean to. I know, Corin said softly, but intention doesn't matter to things born of shadows. A heavy silence filled the room. Only the fire moved, crackling quietly, throwing shifting shapes against the stone floor. Lena pulled her cloak tighter, trying to steady her breathing. Can it be stopped? Corin turned back to her, and she saw something change in his expression, a kind of fierce resolve beneath the quiet sadness. Yes, he said, but not by running. He stepped closer, the dim light catching the sharp lines of his face. You woke me for a reason. You didn't know it, but you did. Lena shook her head. How can you be so sure? Because the seal only breaks for someone it chooses. His voice lowered, almost a whisper. And it chose you. Lena felt her heartbeat thudding in her chest, loud enough she was certain he could hear it. Why me? She asked. Corin held her gaze. That, he said, is what we must find out before the shadows reach this manor. A distant thud echoed somewhere deep in the manor, so soft Lena almost thought she imagined it. But Corin's head turned sharply toward the sound. They're already moving, he murmured. Lena's breath caught. Who? The shadows? No, Corin said. Shadows don't make noise. This is something else. He stepped away from the fire, his movements smooth, almost soundless despite the old wooden floor beneath him. Someone is inside the manor. Lena stood up fast, her cloak slipping from her shoulders. What do you mean, someone? No one comes here at night. Corin didn't answer right away. His eyes were fixed on the dark hallway, leading out of the sitting room. The storm outside groaned again, wind brushing against the walls like a warning. He finally spoke. When I was sealed away, there were men who tried to enter this place. Hunters, thieves, desperate souls. The manor swallowed them all. He glanced back at her. No one walks these halls unless they are called. Lena felt a chill crawl up her spine. Called by what? Not what, Corin said quietly. Who? The lights in the hallway flickered, just once, then steadied again. Lena took a small step closer to him. What do we do? Corin's expression shifted, the calm mask cracking just enough for her to see a flash of something else. Instinct, sharpened from long ago. You stay behind me, he said, no matter what you see. He moved toward the doorway, his posture suddenly taller, more controlled, like he had stepped back into a role he once knew well. Lena hesitated only a second before following. The hallway stretched out in front of them, long and dim, lined with portraits whose painted eyes seemed to track their steps. The air felt different here, heavier, thicker, as if holding its breath. Another sound echoed, a soft scrape, metal against stone. Corin stopped. Lena whispered, Is it coming from the forbidden chamber? Corin closed his eyes for a moment, listening. When he opened them, they were darker, focused. No, he said. It's coming from the lower floor. He turned his head slightly. And whatever it is, it's coming up the stairs. A quiet vibration trembled through the floorboards, faint but steady, like footsteps too heavy to belong to any normal person. Lena felt her throat tighten. Corin, is it the thing you warned me about? Corin didn't look back at her. No, this has weight. Shadows don't climb stairs. He took one slow step forward, placing himself fully between Lena and the stairwell's darkness. The air grew colder. A low groan came from the wooden steps below, as if something was pulling itself upward. Slow, dragging, deliberate. Lena clutched the edge of Corin's sleeve before she even realized what she was doing. He didn't move away. In fact, he shifted just slightly, shielding her even more. A single step creaked. Then another. Then another. The manor seemed to hold its breath. Corin's voice dropped to a whisper. "Stay still." Lena did. Her heartbeat felt like a drum inside her chest, loud enough she feared it would give her away. A pale shape appeared in the gloom below. At first, Lena thought it was a person. Someone bent over, maybe wounded. But as it stepped into the weak light spilling from the hallway, she saw the truth. It wasn't bent. Its spine was twisted. Its arms hung too long. Its skin looked tight and stretched, almost wax-like. And its eyes were wide, empty, unfocused, yet somehow staring right at them. Lena's breath stilled in her throat. The creature took another step, head tilting sharply to one side, as if listening to something only it could hear. Corin whispered, "Do not speak. Do not scream." The creature sniffed the air, long, slow, as if tasting the cold around it. Then it turned its head in a jerky motion toward the two of them. Lena felt a surge of terror rise up her spine. "What is that?" she breathed, barely audible. Corin finally answered, his voice steady, but low with warning. "That," he said, "is something the manor created, not something it welcomed." The creature twitched, its limbs tightening, preparing to move. Corin shifted his stance, placing one foot slightly ahead, muscles coiling with ancient instinct. "Lena," he murmured without turning his head, "when I tell you to run, you run." The creature let out a low, crackling sound, like bones rubbing together inside a hollow space. It leaned forward, its body swaying as if trying to decide whether to crawl or lunge. Lena felt her nails dig into her own palms. Her voice barely formed a whisper. "Corin." "I know," he said softly. The creature suddenly snapped its head upward, smelling the air again. Fast, sharp, hungry. Its twisted fingers scraped along the railing, leaving deep grooves in the old wood. Then it moved, not with any normal motion, but with a violent jerk, throwing itself up the next step like a torn puppet pulled by invisible strings. Lena gasped. Corin stepped forward at once, blocking her view with his frame as he raised one hand toward the creature, palm open, fingers steady. A faint pressure filled the hall. The air tightened, as if something unseen was pushing against the creature. It stopped mid-climb. Its limbs shook. Its head rolled slowly to one side, eyes blinking in confusion. Lena glanced up at Corin. What are you doing to it?" Corin didn't answer right away. His jaw was locked, his focus sharp. Finally, through clenched teeth, he spoke. "I'm holding it back." The creature clawed at the step, its long fingers scraping as it fought against an invisible force. Its body jerked and twisted, trying to push forward. But it couldn't. Corin's hand trembled slightly, only slightly. But Lena saw the strain. "You're hurting yourself," she whispered. "No," he breathed. "Just remembering." He took one step closer to the stairs, his fingers tightening as if gripping something unseen. The creature shrieked, high, broken, almost childlike, and its body slammed back down one step, then another, as if pushed by a sudden burst of force. Finally, it hit the lower landing with a sharp, wet thud, and went still. Lena swallowed hard. "Is it dead?" Corin lowered his hand slowly. No, the manor will pull it back into the dark soon. They both watched as the shadows near the bottom of the stairs began to gather, soft at first, then thickening, curling around the creature's limbs like smoke. Lena felt a chill crawl over her. The creature was being dragged away, pulled back into whatever place had made it. Corin turned to her, his face pale, his voice quiet but clear. "This is only the beginning," he said. "If the manor is waking its old mistakes, it means the real danger is close." Lena stepped closer, her voice shaking. "Then what do we do now?" Corin looked toward the dark corridor ahead, where the shadows seemed deeper than before. "We go to the chamber," he said, "and we find out why you were chosen." Lena followed Corin down the long hallway, her footsteps light, his nearly silent. Even though the creature was gone, the manor didn't feel safer. The walls seemed to lean inward, as if listening. At the end of the hallway stood a tall door, wood darkened with age, metal handles shaped like twisting branches. The forbidden chamber. Lena felt her chest tighten. She had opened this door once, hours ago, and her life had changed in a moment. Corin stopped in front of it. He didn't touch the handle. He just stared at the door as if remembering something painful. "This room," he whispered, "was not built for sleep. It was built for prison." Lena looked up at him. "Who locked you inside it?" Corin didn't answer right away. His eyes drifted to the faded carvings on the door, symbols worn thin by time, cracks running through them like old scars. "People who feared what I carried," he finally said. "People who thought I was dangerous." Lena felt her stomach twist. "Are you?" His eyes met hers. Dark, steady, honest. "I don't know," he said. "Not anymore." A cold breeze slipped through the hallway, brushing Lena's hair. She stepped closer to the door, her fingers trembling. Corin watched her carefully. "You don't have to see what's inside again," he said softly. "It might not feel the same as before. The chamber remembers things." Lena swallowed hard. "I woke you. If this is the reason, then I need to understand." Corin's expression softened, not warm, but respectful. "Then stay beside me," he said, "no matter what you see." He reached slowly for the door. The moment his hand touched the metal, the lights in the hallway flickered, then went out. Complete darkness swallowed them. Lena gasped, reaching out blindly. Her hand found Corin's arm, gripping tight. "It's all right," he murmured, his voice steady in the dark. "I'm here." A faint blue glow began to pulse around the doorframe, soft, cold, like moonlight trapped in ice. Lena stared at it, her breath caught. "What is that?" she whispered. Corin exhaled slowly. "That," he said, "is the seal waking again." A deep crack split through the glow, like lightning trapped in wood. The door trembled beneath his hand, and from inside the chamber came a sound. Not a voice, not a breath. A soft heartbeat. Slow, measured, inhuman. Lena felt her skin crawl. "Corin," she whispered, tightening her grip on him. "What else is in there?" Corin's voice lowered to a grim, quiet truth. "Something that was waiting for me to wake."